The three pivotal words of that gospel are, it was night. It was night. It's a big theme in the Gospel of John, darkness and light. And everything that is light is grace and blessing and God's presence and wisdom. That's the stuff of light. But the stuff of darkness is Satan and sin and brokenness and falling down and destroying and hating. And of course, this theme is pushing us closer and closer and closer to the celebration of the cross. And there it is that the two collide, the light and the darkness. And these two readings represent it very beautifully. Because it is the darkness of hatred and fear and resentment and jealousy and all the other things that went into putting Jesus on that cross. That darkness, that stuff of the night where we can't see clearly, where we stumble and fall. That's what put him there. And yet, while he was there on that cross, that first reading in the psalm ring out of his mouth and ring out of his whole being. He's a man of the light. He has seen the light of God's face. He is on that cross and he's loving and forgiving. He's offering paradise. He's forming a communion of love between his mother and John and his mother. And out of him, in the weakest and most difficult and painful moment that is possible, he is exuding this light and this love. The cross, I still believe it is just the most essential symbol of our faith. If we don't get the cross, I don't think we really get the resurrection. And the resurrection is a big thing to bite off and to believe in. It's miracle of all miracles, and it's huge. But I think we can come close to appreciating and welcoming the resurrection if we can really appreciate and welcome the cross in our life. But not just a cross, not just pain and suffering. There's no value in that in itself, but going through it and how we go through it. As I said last night at one of my funeral services, I said, the cross does one of two things to you always. And it's only two things. It either makes you better or bitter. Better or bitter. And an awful lot of people get their crosses and become bitter. And sometimes become bitter for years. So I think as we come close to this Good Friday, we're being invited into a real sharing of that cross and an embracing of it and letting it into our heart, letting it into the deepest part of our soul, where there, as we contemplate it, we come to know the love, the forgiveness, the healing, and the peace that flowed through and out of that cross. Please stand. And let us bring our prayers and petitions for the needs of the church and the world before the Lord, who is our hope and our salvation.